Hello and welcome, friends, to today's live broadcast. It is Monday. You know what that means? It's Motivation Monday. Time to rise and grind, grab your cup of joe or whatever it is that makes you go, and let's get some Builderall motivation mindset happening this morning. What do you say? Welcome. We'll give everybody just a second to get on the stream here. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I know I did. We're going to try to get a little motivated today, this morning, get our week started off right with the right mindset, get focused, get ready to make some money online with Builderall. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put myself in the corner up here. And we're going to talk about this really cool book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Cal Newport, the book Deep Work that we talked about several weeks ago and that I refer to often, he refers to this book in his book. And it's just a great accompaniment. It kind of goes along with the same line of thinking. So if you're just joining us, this is Keck with Builderall. I'm your information products training and support specialist. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're part of the group. It's Monday. That means it's Motivation Monday. Time to get our motivation on. So we're going to look at this book. I'm just going to give you a brief summary of the high points and the big ideas like I do often on Mondays. So here we go. The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Okay, so we'll start this off with a quote, as we often do, from the book. Here we go. There are 2 principal things a leader can influence when it comes to producing results: your strategy or plan, and your ability to execute that strategy. Stop for a moment and ask yourself this question. Which of these do leaders struggle with more? Is it the creating a strategy or executing the strategy? Every time we post this question to leaders anywhere in the world, their answer is immediate: execution. Now, ask yourself a second question. If you have an MBA or have taken business classes, what did you study more, execution or strategy? When we ask leaders this question, the response once again is immediate: strategy. See the problem here? Our quote goes on. It's perhaps not surprising that the area with which leaders struggle most is also the one in which they have the least education. After working with thousands of leaders and teams in every kind of industry and in schools and government agencies worldwide, this is what we have learned. Once you've decided what to do, your biggest challenge is in getting people to execute it at the level of excellence you need. The book you are reading represents the most actionable and impactful insights from all that we've learned. In it, you will discover a set of disciplines that have been embraced by thousands of leaders and hundreds of thousands of frontline workers, enabling them to produce extraordinary results. Okay, opening quote from the book. So as we usually do, we're going to look at just some big ideas that we've plucked out of this book. Can't look at them all, obviously, but the big ideas we're going to look at are as follows. The 4DX, 1, 2, 3, 4. The whirlwind, focus on your wig. Discipline number 1, your wildly important goal, focus. Lag versus lead measures, need both, focus on lead. What's the score? Want intensity? Keep score. The magnificently trivial, I don't care about it. Okay, there we go. There's the big ideas we're going to unpack for just a couple minutes here. Okay, so here's a quick overview of the 4 disciplines. Discipline number 1 is focus on the wildly important. Basically, the more you try to do, the less you actually accomplish. This is a stark, inescapable principle that we all live with. For an individual focused on deep work, the implication is that you should identify a small number of ambitious outcomes to pursue with your deep work hours. The general exhortation is to, quote, spend more time working deeply. Doesn't spark a lot of enthusiasm. In a 2014 column entitled The Art of Focus, David Brooks endorses this approach of letting ambitious goals drive focused behavior, explaining, if you want to win the war for attention, don't say no to the trivial distractions you find on the information smorgasbord. Try to say yes to the subject that arouses a terrifying longing, and let that terrifying longing crowd out everything else. Quote from Cal Newport right there. That reminds me, we see this terrifying longing. It reminds me of Shelley. She says, tummy tickles. You know, when you feel something, that's your motivation there. Discipline number 2, act on lead measures. Let's drill down into the distinction between lead and lag measures. This is a little bit of a definition to set this up. A lag measure is the measurement of a result you are trying to achieve. We call them lag measures because by the time you get the data, the result has already happened. They are always lagging. The whirlwind is full of lag measures such as revenue, accounts payable, inventory numbers, hospitalization rates, asset utilization, and so forth. Lead measures, on the other hand, are different. They foretell the result. They have two primary characteristics. First, a lead measure is predictive, meaning that if the lead measure changes, you can predict that the lag measure will also change. Second, a lead measure is influenceable. It can be directly influenced by the team, by you. That is, the team can make a lead measure happen without a significant dependence on others. So that's just kind of a framework of this, what is the definition of lead and lag. And discipline number 2 tells us we want to act on lead measures, okay? This is the discipline of leverage. It's based on the simple principle that not all actions are created equal. Some actions have more impact than others when reaching for a goal, and it is those you want to identify and act on if you want to reach your goal. We need to act on lead measures. Know this, your WIG, remember that's your wildly important goal, is a lag measure. It lags behind other things you do. It's the result of doing a bunch of things right. Your lead measure is the number one thing you need to actually do to create that result you want. Most people create a goal or a lag measure and then spend all their time looking at their stats to see if they hit it. The best executors, however, create their WIG, then spend all their time measuring whether or not they're crushing their lead measures, stuff that will make the result a more likely byproduct. Act on lead measures. Okay, discipline number 3. Keep a compelling scoreboard. People play differently when they're keeping score. If you doubt this, watch any group of teenagers playing basketball and see how the game changes the minute scorekeeping begins. The difference in performance between a team that simply understands their lead and lag measure as a concept and a team that actually knows their score is remarkable. If the lead and lag measures are not captured on a visual scoreboard and updated regularly, they will disappear into the distraction of the whiteboard. Simply put, people disengage when they don't know the score. When they can see at a glance whether or not they are winning, they become profoundly engaged. This is a very important point. You've got to keep a compelling scoreboard. If you have lead and lag measurements, but you don't look at them, they are useless. Okay? So number 3 discipline is to create a cadence of accountability. Discipline 4 is where execution really happens. The first 3 disciplines set up the game, but until you apply discipline number 4, your team isn't in the game. We need to make sure we're regularly checking in on how we're doing with the whole process. We can't set the system up and then walk away. The system requires us to stay on top of it. We need to be accountable to the lead measures if we want to A, enjoy the process, and B, ensure a strong likelihood of high-fiving ourselves as we achieve our WIG lag measure, our wildly important goal. All right, so create a cadence of accountability. The next big idea we're going to talk about is the whirlwind. The real enemy of execution is your day job. We call it the whirlwind. It's the massive amount of energy that's necessary just to keep your operation going on a day-to-day basis. And ironically, it's also the thing that makes it so hard to execute anything new. The whirlwind robs from you the focus required to move your team forward. Leaders seldom differentiate between the whirlwind and strategic goals because they are both necessary to the survival of the organization. However, they are clearly different, and more important, they compete relentlessly for time, resources, energy, and attention. We don't have to tell you which will usually win this fight. The whirlwind is urgent and it acts on you and everyone working for you every minute of the day. The goals you've set for moving forward are important, but when urgency and importance clash, urgency will win every time. Once you become aware of this struggle, you will see it playing out everywhere, in every team that's trying to execute something new. So there's this tension between urgency and our goals. The whirlwind. The last big idea, I believe, was I don't care about the magnificently trivial. Envision for yourself the day you report the achievement of your wildly important goal, your WIG, to your own leaders. What would that day be like for your team, for you? Now imagine that day never comes. Imagine you forget everything you've read in this book. Consider spending the future in the midst of a relentless whirlwind where everything is always urgent and the really important priorities are forever postponed. The great management scientist Peter Drucker observed, "I've seen a great many people who are magnificent at getting the unimportant things done. They have an impressive record of achievement on trivial matters. But you don't want to be magnificently trivial. You want to make a high-level, high-impact contribution. The 4 disciplines of execution can take you there." Okay, so there's the big ideas, the 4 disciplines of execution. 1, the 4DX, the 4 disciplines. 1, 2, 3, 4. You remember them? Focus on the wildly important, your WIG, your wildly important goal. Act on lead measures is number 2 discipline, not lag measures. Keep a compelling scoreboard is number 3, and you've got to look at it regularly. And number 4, create a cadence of accountability. The whirlwind, focus on your WIG first. Even in the presence of everything that's urgent, you have to remember that your WIG, your wildly important goal, isn't going to happen unless you make it happen, unless you insert the urgency. And the urgency you insert is greater than the urgency that the world presses in on you, okay? The whirlwind. Focus on your WIG first. Discipline number 2. Discipline number 1, your wildly important goal is focus. Just re-emphasizing this. Discipline number 1, Cal Newport, deep work. Our power to focus is our power to succeed. So that's why it's got to be a wildly important goal, and we have to focus on it in the midst of the whirlwind. All right? And lag versus lead measures we talked about. We need both, but we want to focus on the lead measurements, the things we can do, the actionable things, not the results, but the things that lead us to the result. Okay? And what's the score? You want intensity? Keep score. You can't improve anything that you cannot measure. So it is vital to keep score and keep that score in the forefront of your awareness. Look at it often. And the magnificently trivial, I don't care about that. I love that. Who wants to be great at the magnificently trivial? Not me, but that's where the whirlwind leads us. That's where urgency leads us in the absence of focus. But that's not you, my friends, because I know you guys know how to focus and you're great at it. So this Monday motivation, the 4 disciplines of execution, I hope that helps somebody down the road a little bit of getting their act together, getting their leads and their lags together, deciding on what your WIG is, what is your wildly important goal. All right, friends. Well, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9 for our next live broadcast, where we will get into some Builderall training as usual. And I'm going to say, let's build it with Builderall. Ciao for now, friends. Bye.